if there's serious active bleeding, it goes between 3 to 5 minutes before that person dies.
Wow. So you use a cloth to like stuff inside?
You stuff it, yeah. There's a sequence on how you do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll show you later.
All right.
Then after this one is filled up completely, you come direct pressure.
Have you ever been in an emergency situation? What would you do in such a situation? Would you be able to save the life of the person who is next to you? Would you know who to call? Would you know how to get them to hospital? That's the conversation that you're having today. And I'm joined today by Doreen. Welcome, Doreen.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Doreen Juma. I'm a trained pharmaceutical technologist and emergency medical technician. We are running a campaign on stop active bleeding and save lives. So today we want to explain to you what you will do in case of emergencies, how you as a person who doesn't have any medical know-how could save that life. It could be your brother, it could be your neighbor, it could be anyone or a stranger, but if you have the skills, the knowledge, and the information on how to save life, you can make a difference in someone's life.
Tell me a bit more about the EMS training. What is it? And what qualifications do you need to have so that you can go through it?
So what we are trying to do is to train people who frequent the scene of accident on how to save lives as they wait for professionals to arrive. Yeah. Because research has it that more than 90% of the emergencies that occur are traffic road accidents.
Yes.
And more than 90% of people who die from these traffic road accidents do not die from injuries, but they die because they lose a lot of blood, either before they get to the hospital or before the professional comes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are trying to train each and every person that is that frequent these scenes. Maybe as a bystander, and in this case our target group are the border border riders, are the makangas, the conductors, and are the public transport drivers. The drivers. So we are empowering them with skills, knowledge, and information on how to save life as they wait for help to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the sequence of training? Let's first read how do you identify the people you're going to train? Yes, definitely that they're the drivers and so forth. So do you have like partnerships with maybe a SACCO or a certain border organization, or how do you identify who you're going to train?
Because because our target people are the border and the makangas. The organization was trying to negotiate with the Matatu Association so that they can organize for pool of drivers to be trained in a given during at a certain period of time and given locations. But then what I've been doing is I identify the border shade. I just walk and have a conversation. I introduce myself. This is what I do. Training on how to save lives by controlling active blood loss. And I'm doing it for absolutely free. If you have time, you have to create at least 2 hours of your time so that you get quality of training. It's not quantity, it's quality. I'd rather train one person that knows can save a life the next minute than having 10 people that knows nothing, that comes out with nothing. Yes. So you have to promise that you will take your 2 hours of your time. You sacrifice 2 hours of your time. You get trained. Yeah. So, and then after that, you have to simulate what I've trained you. That's why it takes long. I have to take you through the training, what emergency is. I create a scenario in your mind. What should you have done in that question, in that scenario, and then based on the response, I will know the target group, the target audience. What am I target? What is the knowledge that they have? Yeah. So I create a scenario in your mind.
Okay.
Then based on the scenario, I'll ask you a question 1 or 2 so that I know who I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Then based on that now, I'll start now training you. using the information that you have, and we make the training as simple as possible, so that any person, even the mama mboga, any person who never went to school. I trained some guy who never went to school, but he was excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it just includes a lot of like role playing, putting yourself in a certain situation, what you should do.
Yeah, I take you through what to do when an emergency occurs. So we have like 5. The training have 5 major stages.
Oh, what are these stages?
So 1, if an emergency occurs, so what will you do? First, you have to, let's say it's a road traffic accident. A boda rider and a matatu has collided and there's a traffic. What will you do? You have to ensure that the scene is safe. Safe for you, who's going to help, save life. Because if it's not safe for you, you're also becoming a victim.
That's true.
Yeah. So it has to be safe for you first, safe for the victim that you're going to save, and safe for the bystanders, because when it happens, there are so many people who are coming with TikTok and all this stuff. Yeah. So you have to ensure that all these people are also safe. So let's say if it was on a busy road, you have to know how to control the traffic. Yeah, so that there's no more commotion and no more accidents, right?
Yes.
So all these things, if there are glasses, how do you take care of these glasses? If it was a motorcycle that was on motion, how do you ensure that the engine is off? If there's how do you call it? Spillage of oil or petrol, how do you ensure that this place is safe, so that somebody doesn't come with a cigarette and then makes things worse?
That's true.
So security is number 1. It's very key.
So the first part is situational awareness.
Situational awareness.
Okay.
You have to ensure that your security is good, so that at least even you, if you're performing, if you're trying to save that life, you're comfortable, you're confident.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the next step now?
The next step now, you have to call for help, because you're not trained to attend to accidents.
Yes.
So you have to call for help. As much as you're going to trying to save this life, somebody, a professional, has to come. Yeah.
Yes.
So we always give numbers of the numbers to call. So like for Nairobi, you can call Nairobi Fire Services.
Okay.
There's a number you can normally call is 020-2222-181. So I always encourage the people I train that they have these numbers. Then there's an emergency medical services, a rescue center or a dispatch. It's called Rescue Corps or Flare.
Yeah.
So they act like Uber. So let's say accident happens here and you call them. They have their people. They have contract with the, how do you call it? Contract with the ambulances. So they'll just search which one is near. Like if you call for Uber, they'll search the nearest, which is the nearest. The nearest responder. Yeah. So they'll check like Uber, they ask who's the nearest Uber around you. Yeah, around your location. So you just give them this, you just describe for them the situation, you describe for them the area, location. They'll ask for you maybe a landmark, like a building or something.
Okay.
Then if you call them, they'll identify the nearest person, so that at least this response time is shorter.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So for the flare, I think there's 0714 911 911. Yeah.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah. So if you have these 2 numbers, you can always call.
Okay.
So as you call, that was step number 2, you call for help. So as you wait for this help to call, you just don't wait and sit. You wait as you do something.
Okay.
Yeah. And our situation, you can be across the road, but there's traffic, you can't even help. So for this time, normally it takes a lot of time. Before ambulance gets to you, it's maybe around 18-20 minutes.
Okay.
So what will you do between 18 and 20 minutes and there's somebody who's actively bleeding? You have to arrest this bleeding. You have to stop this bleeding. You have to control this bleeding from going on. Right?
Right.
So now we are telling the people we train on how now to identify. You have to identify the bleeding. So step number 3 is appropriate and consistent application of direct pressure.
Okay.
You know direct pressure?
Yes. So maybe you use a cloth and then you put pressure on wherever the blood is gushing out from.
Exactly.
Okay.
So directly on that place. So you apply direct pressure. It has to be strong. It has to be consistent.
Okay.
so that it helps in the formation of clot and then suppressing of the oozing of the blood.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you apply the first cloth and it doesn't work, you are allowed to apply another one. If it doesn't work again, that means let's say it was a cut, not a deep cut.
Yes.
Then that means now you have to do something else. So you'll jump into arresting the blood flow.
So you tie like maybe before wherever that cut or gash is.
Yeah. So if there are 3 stages that are involved in controlling blood, but now it will depend with how severe or the type of blood flow that is coming up. Yeah. So if it's the deep wound, yeah. So if it's a deep cut and or a gunshot, then that's a different one.
Yes.
But it's just a cut is also a different one. So if it's just a cut, what do? You take a cloth, irrespective of whether dirty or clean.
Oh, okay. Yes, I was about to ask that. Because,
it's irrespective. Okay. Because you cannot let somebody bleed to death because you're trying an infection. What is the worst that can happen when they use a dirty cloth? An infection.
Yes.
Yeah? What happens when they go to hospital? They get treated with antibiotic and all that stuff.
Okay.
So they clear the infection. So you should not worry about how dirty or how clean the cloth is.
You just get any cloth.
Any cloth that can help you arrest and then give very strong direct pressure.
That's important to know.
Very strong direct pressure. So if it's an open wound that is deep, then now you have to pack the wound.
Wow. So you use a cloth to like stuff inside?
You stuff it. Yeah. That is there's a sequence on how you do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you pack that wound completely until it's completely filled.
Wow.
The space is completely filled.
Okay.
Yeah. And then now, if you pack it up, then you come and do another cloth on top and continue the direct pressure. Yeah. Okay. So if the blood is still seeping out, and you've added more and more clothes, now you go to the final one, which is now tourniquet.
Yes.
So tourniquet is when you do you tie. Most of it applies to the extremities, the fingers, the limbs. Actually, the limbs. Yeah. So it applies to the limbs. So what you do, you tie the place. Yeah. And you tie the place tightly and secure the knot. So how do you secure the knot? You can use let's say for a border rider, you don't have a cloth. Where will you get a cloth? They have a reflector jacket. They can use the reflector jacket as a tourniquet and tight. Then you have to have something called a windlass, is like a stick to secure, to make it tighter.
Yes.
If you grow up in the village, after you tie kuni, firewood, and then you do like a knot like this so that it makes strong. So you use the same system, the same style.
Yeah.
So you tie it and then you make you tighten it up with a stick. It can be a spanner. It can be.
So you stabilize the place.
You stabilize the place, but you have to make it tight.
Okay.
But before so that one now depends with how severe the blood is. If it's something that you just give direct pressure and it stops, then you don't have to go through the other processes.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the 5 steps of saving life by controlling the blood loss.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you've gotten to maybe a situation, it's an accident. What do you tell everyone that they should absolutely not do?
So what they should not do. So let's say you've started the process. You've let's say there's an open wound in the abdomen.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a cut in the abdomen.
Okay.
So you see that's an open wound.
Yes.
And there's a deep cut.
Yes.
So there's that deep cut. The deep cut they say you pack. Yeah. But you don't pack the abdomen.
Okay.
You don't pack the abdomen.
You only pack a wound on like maybe limbs or something.
Yeah. Okay. You don't pack the abdomen. You don't pack the head.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't pack the throat.
Makes sense. You block the airways.
Yeah, you block the airway or something. Yeah, you block. Actually, you definitely block the airway.
Okay.
So if you, so these are the things that if there's a cut in the abdomen, you just take the cloth, place it on top, direct pressure consistently. Don't leave it until help comes.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't tourniquet. You don't tie the abdomen or the torso. From here to here, you don't tie. You can only tie the limbs.
The limbs.
Yeah. Okay. You don't tie the torso.
Okay.
You don't tie the head.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say there's a stab. People are fighting and there's somebody stabbed the other person, and the knife is still there. Don't pull that knife out.
Yes.
Because you're going to cause more.
Oh, it's not a movie. Because in movies they pull it out.
Don't pull it out. You're going to cause more damage to the person, because you don't know how deep the knife went. If it touched an organ, imagine you're pulling it out of the organ. So you're going to create more injury inside that you cannot be seen. That's so if in case there's such kind of a stab wound or anything that is stuck in the body, you just secure it. Yeah. Secure it. Pressure. No, don't remove it.
Well.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. This kind of training is very vital.
It is.
I see, to just anyone and everyone, because you can find yourself in an emergency situation at any time.
True. You don't have to wait for a doctor to come to save that life, because most of the people, if there's serious active bleeding, it goes between 3 to 5 minutes before that person dies.
Wow.
Yes. If it attacks the arteries, the large veins. Now the blood will be oozing and at a very fast rate. So you realize that you lose the person before even help comes.
Yeah, because it takes, you said, around 18 minutes.
18 to 20 minutes, for help, normal time. But it can even take longer, depending on the situation or the traffic on the road or the weather. Yeah. So before that one comes, will you wait for someone to that long?
The first person who's there, the first responder, has to just do the best that they can.
Exactly. That's why this thing goes to the community, direct to the communities, to empower them with those hands-on skills, this knowledge, those information, and so that at least they help save life as they wait for professionals to come. Okay. Yeah.
That's very important. This means this is a kind of training that everybody needs to be able to understand. So have you been able to do this training maybe in mother tongue, using native languages, since the people you're training are basically the people on the ground?
I've been doing this in Swahili, which is a native language for most Kenyans. And the impact has been great because you relate with the people. They know that the problem that they are facing can be simplified in very simple Swahili languages. Again, we also plan to do more in the villages, more so in the communities back in the village. I come from Kisumu County, Seme to be specific, and for you to get help, the next available hospital is like around 10-20 kilometers. So for a person to get help, it takes a lot of time. One, because the roads are not in good condition. Two, there's no information on how to do this. And three, we do not have ambulances that reach those interior parts. So we want to empower these communities, the boda riders, the fishermen, the normal people who work in the gardens, the Juakali people, so that the old mama, so that if there's any active bleeding, they can get, because our training has been simplified. You don't have to have a medical background. You don't have to have medical knowledge to get this, because we are training you with skills, information, and knowledge on how to use readily available material. That kashuka, that stick that you have can help save someone's life. Yes, we are planning to do it. If it can be done in all local languages so that we can reach all the communities across the country, we'll be saving more and more lives, most of the villages where the medical facilities are not easily accessible.
So maybe there are some organizations, some boda riders that would love to empower their people with this kind of training. How would they reach out to you?
They can always call. Actually, I walk to them because I volunteered and I want to impact the community. So I always walk to them. So they can always reach to me. If they have a team, like, let's say, actually I can only train 6 people in 2 hours. Okay. So that we maximize on quality of the training that we get, that a person gets. So they can always reach out to me on my personal number. Okay. Maybe I share my number. Yes. 0722 390 614. Okay. Yeah. All right. So you call me wherever you are within Nairobi. I'll come and train you for free. And if you are good enough, you've mastered everything, and you have an active email address, I'll share your details to the organization, African Fire Mission in the US. They send you a certificate to your email address. It won't come through me. It goes direct to you.
To the organization.
But at least what I have to be sure of is that when I train you, something happens next, or I collapse next, or somebody breaks my leg next, you will be in a position to help.
Yeah, that's a good promise.
Yeah,
for a free training, that's a very good promise.
I think that's why the challenge we're having with border is that at that timing they feel 2 hours yote. How will I compensate? But they don't know if their life at stake.
True.
And they are the frequent.
It can be anyone at any time.
Yeah, and I also tell them that even if it's you who is involved in an accident, you have the information, and if you're conscious, you can instruct somebody, because you already have the information and the skills. You just tell them, do for me this, do for me this. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Doreen.
Thank you so much.